I'm holding court, you standing trial. Why ain't I see you round back when I was down?
A few years after that, Meech got locked up and went to jail. So when he got locked up, he had a conversation with Jeezy to basically kind of make sure that I was straight and like give me a job. So
why ain't I see you round back when I was down?
What's up, world? It's your boy Big Court of the Holdin Court Podcast. You already know what it is, and we down here in the A, trapping in the A one more again, man. And of course, I got my beautiful oldest daughter next to me, baby Rachel. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's so
I called
good.
you your home name. Rachel Renee.
What's good, world?
Rachel Renee. And man, how you feeling today?
Man, we wrapping up the trapping, but I'm super excited. I'm so happy to have a lady. You know, I love to have the ladies.
Yeah, that's a fact. So today, man, listen, we got an A-Town legend. She's one of the main.
God, y'all know I'm a Cancer. Y'all are gonna make me cry, man.
Yeah, we got an A-Town legend, and
I got my flowers. I got everything.
We gave her flowers and everything, yeah. And I'm really a fan of her and what she's created with her brothers with Big Facts.
Thank you.
Superb content, super platform. Again, like I said, I'm a fan. You know what I mean? But we got the incomparable baby Jade. What's going on?
Jade. Yeah.
What's going on?
I appreciate you guys for, like I said, wanting to have me.
Yes,
it really means a lot. I take every opportunity to the heart. Seriously.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even after doing research, I was like, man, you are so well respected. You kind of a powerhouse down here. Like these people move for you.
And I don't take that respect lightly. So I try to make sure that whether it's somebody that I work with or a fan, or I don't like the word fan, like somebody that shows me love that I meet in the street that I don't know, I try to return that same respect and that same love, because I feel like that's the only way to really like keep it going.
Yeah.
So
and upon that research, again, I already kind of knew about you, but digging a little bit deeper. So not only does the industry move for you, but these streets rock with you too. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if somebody were to run afoul of you, they could find themselves, having a bad day.
In a smidgen of trouble.
A smidgen of trouble. Yeah. Like, you got some real steppers. Like, the real ones really rock with you.
Yeah. And it's like I said, is because the same respect that they offer me on behalf of certain things and certain situations that we've been through, I return that same respect, and I make sure that I return that respect to the utmost power, the utmost degree, because at the end of the day, I have a huge respect for life, and I have a huge respect for the circle of it and how things go. So I know that, in order to keep everything on the up and up on that end, I have to do the same on my end, for lack of a better way to put it.
Right. So basically, you're responsible with your power.
For sure.
Yeah, and your
for
influence.
sure. I don't abuse it. I don't try to overdo it. I don't try to throw it around. I keep it where it's at. I try to cultivate it and make it grow and show other people how to manage theirs, for lack of a better way.
Right. Yeah. Now that's super dope.
Yeah.
I want to start from the beginning just a little bit,
Let's
just
go.
for the people. So you're born and raised in Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Or I ask everybody this: are you a Grady baby?
No, I am actually a Crawford Long Emory baby. I was a little bougie.
Yeah.
Right. That's what we
They
hear.
all kind of do
That's
that
what
too.
we hear when they say in the hospital, like, no, my people had insurance. But if your ass gets shot up, go to Grady.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What? Hey, we learning.
My daddy is a Grady baby though.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a nigga.
Okay.
Yeah,
so what part of Atlanta did you grow up in?
I grew up on the west side.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So where did you start getting the affinity for entertainment? What was your path there?
So I used to, when I was in high school, I used to like creative things and like creative stuff. So I used to get my nails done, but I used to have these kind of, like, I had like A and B grades. So my parents, like, they were really receptive to whatever I wanted to do, because I wasn't pregnant and my grades were good. So, you know, they knew I had some sense.
They gave you a little bit of freedom.
Like I had like these nails, but they were like kind of long. But the lady that did my nails, her name was Juice. Like I used to get my nails done every week. So every week she would like, I would be like the muse or the model or whatever. She would try something different. Like she might put like some rhinestones on my nails one week. I know one time she started this thing where she wanted to start trying to see if she could put money in nails. So we cut up some $100 bills and put the $100 bills in my nails, and it started the money nails. And then everybody started going crazy, and she started charging $1,000 for them. But I used to get them for free because like I helped her come up with the idea. So in the process of that, we came together and decided like, well, since everybody's like looking at my nails and coming in and asking for my nails and stuff like that, why don't we start doing some marketing for the shop? So I became the head of marketing for the nail shop. But the nail shop was in the West End, which is directly across from like the AU Center with Clark, Spelman, Morehouse, and all of that. So we were talking one day and I was thinking like, well, if we're going to take this bigger, like I kind of need some help. But I figured that it would be kind of dope because nobody had an all-girl street team. So I was like, I'm going to pull some girls from Clark, pull some girls from Spelman, whatever, and we're going to start like passing out flyers. So we started passing out flyers for the nail shop. And then a couple of people that I knew that had clubs hit me and they wanted me and the girls to pass out the flyers for the club and promote the club. So we started getting accounts and then it turned into a real business.
Yeah.
So we started doing car washes. We had like all kind of stuff. And then we started traveling out of state to do the marketing thing or whatever. And it just kind of took off from there. And then one night we were at, God, what's the name of that club? It used to be called South Beach on Roswell Road.
Mm-hmm.
And we had like a whole setup. We were putting some things together. We had started like a booklet, you know, just with all the advertisements from the people that we had accounts for, whatever. And it was like these guys that came. So, but when they came, it was like a difference. Like they pulled up in all these cars. They all had on the same shirts. They all had on all this jewelry, whatever. So I saw like one of my homeboys, one of my friends from the hood with the niggas, with the guys
You can say
that,
niggas.
you know what I'm saying, had all of this stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, instantly I'm thinking money, business. How can I get these niggas to advertise with me? Whatever. So I see my homeboy, I pull him to the side. I'm like, okay, so which one of these niggas makes the decisions? Like, I need you to take me to him. So he was like, okay. And I was like, no, I'm serious. Like, the nigga that's spending the money that can control all of this shit, I need to meet him.
Yeah.
Like, can you do that for me if you love me?
Yeah.
Like, he was like, I got you, sis, whatever. So it was like a few hours later. And I'm thinking, like, I didn't know if they had left or what, but I'm seeing the car is still there. But I'm like, damn, the club is closed. What are these niggas doing? I'm ready to go. So they came out and my friend, my buddy White introduced me to, it was a light-skinned guy. He had braids, whatever. His name was Meech.
Mm.
So he introduced me. He was like, this is my sister, whatever. You know, they have a magazine, or he called it a magazine, but it was really like a little small, probably like 15, 20 page booklet, maybe about half the size, whatever. And he was like, they have a magazine, you know, she wanted to talk to you about some advertisement for, you know, the company or whatever, the label, because at that time, that's what it was, BMF Entertainment. So his first thing was, okay, so how much do we need to spend? And I'm like, well, it doesn't quite go like that. You know, we got to sit down, you know, let me go over the specs, what you're going to get, whatever. He was like, I don't care about all that. How much is the ad? And I was like, it's $2,500. And he was like, that's for like the inside. And I was like, yeah. He was like, how much for the cover? And I was like, I was thinking like, fuck, I don't know how much
Right.
to cover. Like, what do I
Right.
like, okay, $7,500. He was like, okay, so he gave me $10,000. And he was like, can we do the photo shoot tomorrow? And, you know, like, let me know how much it is, whatever. I'm going to have everybody ready. I'm going to have all the cards out there, blah, blah, blah. I was like, hell yeah, we can do the photo shoot. Nigga, we can do it tonight. Like, I'll get these people up and, you know, make this shit move around. Like, nigga, you just gave me. Yes, like, so we did that. We did the photo shoot. Blue Da Vinci was the artist at the time. Him and they had Young Jeezy. So we put Blue on the cover, on one side. It was a double-sided magazine. And then Tip was on the other cover, on the other side. So we had like we did the photo shoot. Everything was crazy. It was like, we did the photo shoot and Benny Boom was shooting a video and did the behind the scenes. And at that time, he was like the biggest, the largest.
I was just finna ask you, was he Benny Boom at that time?
Yes, man.
Wow.
Yes.
Doing BTS?
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy.
And he was like, he was shooting a video for them also.
Okay.
So we got like some behind the scenes footage. We got stuff for the magazine. And then to just end this crazy story about how I started getting into it or whatever, we were thinking, okay, so he asked me, what do we need to do to, you know, put it out there, like for the rollout of the magazine or the premiere of the magazine or whatever. So I was like, well, so me and Juice were telling him like, Birthday Bash is coming up. We need to advertise with the radio station and get a booth at Birthday Bash and pass the magazines out. So he was like, we got to figure out something else. We got to go big, whatever. So he was like, what if we drop money over the arena? And at this time, it was at Lakewood Amphitheater, like outside. So we were like, how the hell we gonna drop money over the people? So he was like, I'm gonna rent a helicopter. You're gonna go in the helicopter. I'm gonna give you the money. You're gonna sit in the helicopter. You're gonna drop the money over the shit, whatever. Niggas gonna go crazy. And that's gonna be like the Juice magazine. That's gonna be like our debut or whatever.
Damn.
He was like, I want to be a part of this. So I was like, okay. So I'm thinking like, I'm like, okay, that's not going to happen. Because how the hell we finna do that?
And this ain't no contract, no paperwork. Just,
nothing.
Okay.
Just like, you know, my word is what I'm saying I'm going to do.
Right.
So I'm going to do it.
Right.
So the day of Birthday Bash, we're getting everything together. So I'm setting up all the stuff with the street team, whatever. I get the booth set up, get everything done. And then they call me and tell me that I need to go to PDK, Peachtree DeKalb Airport. So I'm like, okay. Okay. I'm okay. Just send me the address. I'm on the way, whatever. So I get there and I meet the pilot and he's like, okay, well, we're going up and I'm just gonna show you how to do it because we're not gonna be able to like just drop it. So I'm like, these people, I'm like, this nigga was serious.
Yeah.
And then he was like, okay, well, yeah, I'm getting everything together, but you got to come to the house and get the money. So I'm like, I came to the house, got the money. It was like 20 grand in ones. So when I come back, it was an older white guy, the pilot. So he was like, you know, we're not going to be able to just toss it out because it's going to fly up in the propellers and chop up. So we're going to fly over it. Every time I lean the helicopter over, you just start dumping it out, whatever. So I'm like, okay. So we tried it. We did like a test run before the people got there. And, you know, we figured out a system. Like he would lean this way, I would drop it out this way. He would lean this way, I'll drop it out that way. And then like when Blue got ready to perform, like we threw the money and it was like pandemonium and the radio station was pissed. 107.9 at the time because it caused a kerfuffle and it was like, you know, technically a hazard, but it was like the biggest shit ever that they talked about. And the pilot guy was asking me like, are you done? I was like, yeah. He was like, so you threw all that money out? I was like, yeah, I wasn't going to keep it. Like he gave it to me to throw. Like, I don't need it. I mean, I could use it, but you know what I'm saying? Like I'm here to do a job. Like, and that's another thing too, that I feel like is a big thing with me because people know that like, there's no like funny shit or like funny business with me. Like if you tell me to do something or if you trust me to like get something done, I'm going to do it and do it to the best of my ability and make it as huge as possible with no discussion about any kind of funniness or whatever. So yeah, like from there, we increased the size of the magazine. The magazine got bigger. We got a distribution deal with this company out of Florida. So it was in all the airports. It was in Target, Walmart.
What was the name of the magazine again?
The Juice magazine. And then a few years after that, Meech got locked up and went to jail. So when he got locked up, he had a conversation with Jeezy to basically kind of make sure that I was straight and like give me a job. So I started working for Jeezy and doing marketing for his company for CTE.
Okay.
And then I worked there for like 8 or 9 years, and then I started my own company, and today here I am.
Okay. Dang. That's
So-
okay. So you came in through the boss.
Yeah.
Did you develop a rapport and a relationship with Meech throughout that time?
Yes.
Okay. So
He was
tell us about the real Big Meech.
he was he's a very, 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 very intelligent person. I remember we were in Miami one time because he had a club down there. So we used to go down there every weekend to like run the club and, you know, do the club stuff or whatever. And we were up one night after the club and we had a probably 2 or 3 hour long conversation about how it was a conspiracy that most African Americans were lactose intolerant. Yeah,
Really?
like, and it was like shit like that used to be on his mind.
Yeah.
And you know, outside of like how he could make the world a bigger place, but he used to think about, you know what I'm saying? His wheels that type of shit used to
I
turn
think
his
that
wheels.
might have been the weed, but I'm just curious though, like, right? So because let's unpack that for a second.
Yes.
If that's a conspiracy, like what is it to keep black folks shitting? I mean, what is the goal of making, you know what I mean?
You know what? We might have to revisit that on part 2 so that I can ask him and see. But
Okay.
yeah, like he was just like, you know, it's crazy because why aren't other races the same way to his knowledge as far as like milk and cheese and dairy products are concerned? Like, no, every time you see like somebody else, I don't drink no milk. That shit give me gas, or
that's a fact.
you know what I'm saying, some shit like that. So it's like, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that used to be on his mind, and I think that's another thing that made him such an excellent businessman because he did have the intelligence and the wherewithal to be able to think outside of the box and understand how to break things down and also pack them up at the same time.
Yeah. So being that you have a relationship with him, I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on the current state of what he's doing? And I usually don't do this, but it's relevant and pertinent to what you just said.
Right.
Just the falling out with him at 50, you know, could that have been prevented?
As far as that's concerned, I kind of feel like it's kind of like a tricky situation because I feel like I feel like Meech is entitled to feel how he feels because of everything that he's been through. And as far as 50 is concerned, whatever's going on with that whole situation, he also, as a man, has a right to his opinion and, you know, whatever's going on. But I do kind of hate that it had to play out in the public,
especially
like
on social media. From the outside looking in, you know, respectfully, I don't know either one of those gentlemen,
right?
It seems like I think it was a thing of where, you know, Meech been gone a long time. He, you know, shit, I've been free and I'm still learning social media and the nuances of it, you know what I'm saying? So it looked like he kind of didn't get it really, you know, whatever was going on with Ross and 50. He probably, even if he was in the know of it, he probably thought it was just social media. You know, these niggas ain't killing each other. They rich. Like, this shit ain't real. You know what I mean? And he probably didn't just understand who he was dealing with 50 either. That
I think that also played a part. And I think another thing too is with him, you gotta realize, even though he's been gone a long time, he's still like his own boss.
Exactly.
And he's still,
that was the other part of it. Yeah.
The head of his situation. And as a man, he makes his own decisions. And as a man, he doesn't necessarily feel the need to, I don't want to say check in with another man about what he feels like he needs and wants to do, especially after being down for so long. But I just feel like that also plays a part. The fact that he was his own boss, he had his own organization, he had his own situation, he had his own crew of people. So for him to not do this or tiptoe around that because of whatever somebody else has going on, I understand the loyalty part and I get it, but I don't think he was fully abreast or fully aware of the gravity of that particular situation, honestly.
Yeah, I think it could have been fixed with a simple conversation, like,
Yeah.
hey, let me holler at you. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? This is what's going on,
Yeah, yeah.
And then he could have said, okay, I feel that. Or, hey, I hear you.
Yeah.
But listen, bro, respectfully, I'm a grown man.
Right.
That ain't real to me. Like,
Right,
so
right.
it's unfortunate all the way around.
Yeah, I hate to see it.
Yeah, but I
I
want to
hate to
ask
see
you
it.
too. You said you worked with Jeezy. What was that experience like working with Jeezy for so many years?
It was like, okay, you know how I just pulled up and we had our conversation out there.
Yeah.
That was like that. Like
Yeah.
it was like the hood shit that I love to do.
Yeah.
Because it's like, like with him came all the niggas.
Yeah.
Like with Meech came all the niggas too, but he was like literally like in the streets.
Yeah.
Streets.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was like it came with fun, it came with club stuff, it came with traveling, and it came with like the difference between him and Meech is that Meech was an executive and a CEO. He was actually an artist performing, like going to clubs, doing shows, having music that resonated with niggas' souls. And
Right.
you know what I'm saying? It was
Mhm.
like, it taught me a lot. Like I learned a lot from that entire experience. Like I learned how to build relationships with DJs. I learned how to work records. I learned how to get something played at radio without having to use any money. You know what I'm saying? I learned how to
You can sell that game.
Yeah, exactly. Like I learned how to print up a t-shirt that 10 years later I could see a crackhead walking down the street with the t-shirt that I gave them on, and it's still in fairly good condition to a certain extent, as much as it could be 10 years later on a crackhead.
Right.
But you know what I'm
Yes,
saying? Like,
yes.
but it was like I learned a lot from that situation, and I learned a lot about how to carry myself in the industry being the only girl, because at a lot of times, like I was the only female, like in the crew or in the group. And I had to learn how to balance like all these niggas' emotions. And you know what I'm saying? I had to learn how to balance like,
Yes.
when niggas were under the influence, and when they were kind of like out of control, or you know what I'm saying, whatever,
And they wanna try you.
and remain
Yeah.
like a female with my emotions, but
Yes.
not fly off the handle
Mhm.
too with these niggas. And you know what I'm saying? I had it really taught me how to like grow up for real. Like it
Wait,
was,
so I have not to cut you off because
Yes.
I don't want to lose it. And I've been thinking this the whole time. So, business question.
Yes.
As a woman. So I noticed too, and it was funny because I was just telling, shout out to production back here, even on my YouTube, I was like, I always attract men. I attract men in my content. My whole C team in my business, I'm a tech founder, men. My whole development team, men. I always
Yes.
attract men. And I was like, and no, I was laughing at what you said, managing their emotions, because I would tell my friend, she was like, but you say men are emotional too, but you don't work well with women. I said, I don't know what it is. I said, but men get stuff done. I
Yes.
said, and they respect hierarchy. You know what I
Yes,
mean? And
yes.
it's like with women, don't get
Yes.
me wrong. I'm all for everybody being equal, but you can't do that all the time. You got to understand time and place. So my question to you is, and you kind of answered it a little bit, but as
Yes.
a woman, how do you continue to navigate that? And do you prefer working with men over women, or is it just whoever?
So, okay, so here's a funny story about that. I definitely prefer working with men over women, but for a long time, especially with me, even not even Jeezy, just artist period, because I do a lot of stuff with a lot of different artists. I'm on the road, doing shows in these different cities in and out. I really didn't care for females because I know what they're trying to do, and like I know what they're trying to get, and by no means
Yes.
am I like a cock blocker
Yes.
or
Talk
anything
about
like
it.
that. But
Oh my
I'm
God.
here to make sure everything
business.
is okay.
Yes.
So if I let this nigga go back to the room with this bitch, and then she wakes up in the middle of the night and runs out with all his money and his jewelry, then I would have failed my mission.
You would have failed your team.
Basically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, like you can ask anybody, man. Like when we were on the road, like if y'all want to go to the room with these hoes, y'all can go to the room with these hoes.
Right.
I need the jewelry and the money and anything else valuable.
Yeah.
I'm going to put all that shit in the room with me and I'm going to bed. Y'all have fun
Yeah.
or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Anything that's outside of what you've been paid to do, like have at it, but you're not taking any valuables with you. You know what I'm saying? So if anything happens, like she can steal a booger out of your nose or, you know what I'm saying? Some shit like that while you're asleep or whatever, but she's not taking anything that she'll be able to show off as a trophy. Like I caught this nigga slipping. Like, no, I'm not going for that.
So you was like big sis, like the matriarch.
Really like security, like for real. Like,
men
I
be
took
gullible.
that shit I took that shit serious because it's like at the end of the day, even like with security, no offense to security, but you know, they're I don't want to say they're gonna go along with certain shit to a certain extent, but it's certain stuff that like I can do and say and get done that might not be comfortable for them to say or do. Like I can tell a bitch like, hey, like I need you to sign this real quick before you go in there or whatever. And, you know, security might not necessarily feel comfortable, like, doing all of that or dealing with them or whatever. But, hey, bitch, excuse me. And then I'm going. I'm out of your way. Nice to meet you. It was a pleasure. And then I'm done. I got done what I needed to do. And I covered all of our asses. And now we're good. Like, so.
That's what's up. Hey, I'm curious. So when you were with Jeezy, were you with him through his transitional phase? When he was transitioning
for the most part, yeah.
Okay. What changes did you see him make to do that?
It was kind of like, how can I put this? It was kind of like an internal struggle because he wanted to keep it real with all of his niggas and he wanted to, you know, stay true to the streets. But when you're trying to cross over to that next level, you can't have one foot in and one foot out. You got to make a decision like, hey, I'm ready to go here, or hey, I'm going to stay back here. And that was something that, but that's what a lot of artists though, and a lot of people, it's like, you don't want to not keep it real and then seem like you're a fuck nigga. But at the end of the day, in order to be successful, you have to be that fuck nigga in order to go to the next level. And a lot of people that you love and care about and a lot of people that are right there with you and close to you are not going to understand that. And that means that you have to come back and get them later.
But let me ask you, Jade, is it really being a fuck nigga, choosing yourself? You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
What they define it as.
Not at all.
Yeah, because it's funny.
Not at all.
Because they will say it's that.
Yeah.
You funny acting. You know, oh man, if bitch
what the hell you got going on, or you know what I'm saying, whatever. Like, but at the end of the day, they don't understand that if I don't try to elevate, then none of this shit that has been possible for you all will continue to be able to be possible. It's gonna run out. So, you know, it's just,
and we all gonna get jammed up.
Yes.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah, like, so let me do this, or understand and come with me and help me navigate this. Or if not, if you can't understand it, then let me go and I'll be back.
Yeah, exactly. Because I always use the analogy, because sometimes you have survivor's remorse, right? But
exactly
what niggas gotta understand, what niggas gotta understand is like, I would tell them, like, look, bro, if we in the desert, if we all stay, we all gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I tell you what, I got a little more strength and I see something way over there.
Yes.
I'm gonna come back in, because even if we don't try, I gotta leave you for a second, but I'm gonna come back. You know, there's no sense in us all dying. You know, let's at least try. But they don't understand. They short-sighted, you know.
Right.
But that's the difference between vision and sight, right? Everybody got sight, but vision is usually seeing something that everyone can't see. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So what was one of the main things that you can remember that you learned from Jeezy, business-wise?
I learned... That's a good question. I learned basically how not to give a fuck and to do what I needed to do for myself to ensure that I was successful, so that I could be in the position to be able to take care of the people that I needed to take care of, basically.
That's power.
Mm-hmm.
Not giving a fuck is so
Hard.
it's hard, but it's very liberating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to.
You're almost, it's like you're free.
Yeah, you free. You in bondage. That's the thing, man. You're in bondage when you give too much of a fuck, right? Because I always tell people, man, you have to balance it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like I can do what I can do, and that's it.
Yes.
At that point, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
bondage, that's a good word. That's a good word.
Yeah, shit, it's bondage, man, emotionally and mentally. And professionally.
Yeah. Yes.
So transitioning into podcasting, big facts.
Yes.
Now, big facts. I'm a big fan, as I told Scream. That ain't cap. That's real shit. I've been watching y'all for a second. Y'all 5 years old?
Yes.
Okay, I'm 4 years old.
Okay.
So in June, and you guys were one of the, thank you. Likewise,
Mm-hmm.
you guys were one of the platforms that I was watching during the quarantine. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, they got a little something. And I had already was up on Bank from Superfly.
For sure.
And through Alley Boy. You know?
Yes.
So how y'all put all that together?
Okay, so Black had been talking about doing a podcast for like a real long time, and he was gonna call it the No Cap Podcast. So every year we used to do this thing called the No Cap Party. So like the premise of the No Cap Party was that, like we bringing out all the niggas that spend money that ain't capping about how much they make. So the first one that we did it here in Atlanta. Shout out to AG Entertainment. We did it at Gold Room, and it was crazy because we thought we were gonna have to cancel it because the weather kept saying that it was gonna snow. So we were like, fuck. But then, you know what I'm saying? We were like, fuck it. We just gonna, shit is here now. Like, we're gonna have to do what we gotta do. So when we got to the club to like set up, it was probably like 8:00. We started seeing flurries. So we were like, fuck. Like, but shit, we open the doors now. So, niggas done bought sections and tables and shit. We just gonna try to see how this goes and then who's gonna be able to show up and all this stuff, whatever. So it was cool. We had a steady flow, probably like 10, 11 o'clock. By 12 o'clock, it was a full-on blizzard, like snow everywhere, whatever. So we were thinking like, man, we just gonna have to let the people that are in here party and then afterwards shut it down. 12:30, we had probably about 200 people outside in the snow. We had Thug, we had Baby, we had P from QC, we had every fucking nigga in Atlanta that had any kind of millions of dollars or any kind of money, every hood nigga, every whatever. We had like 100 strippers. Like they pulled up in the snow. They were slipping and sliding in the parking lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it was such an event till like the parking people were charging $600 to park.
Damn.
Yes. And
niggas was paying $600 to park?
partied all night.
Oh, that's
we partied. Future
shit.
Came, everybody came. We partied all night, like until probably like 4 or 5 in the morning. And then niggas was slipping and sliding out of there. Like it was so many accidents and shit on the way, like leaving. But niggas were like, they didn't even give a fuck. They left their cars till the next day and like came back and got them because they had such a good time, like on the inside. So the next day, I can't remember if this was after the first or second one. Future was dropping his album. This was during the time that he was with Lori Harvey or whatever, whichever album that was. And he decided that he didn't want to do any interviews. He was just gonna do a one-on-one with Black. And that was gonna be the interview for the rollout for the album or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And it was called Free Bands Radio. So the night after the No Cap party, well, not even the night after, we just stayed up and got on a flight and went to New York, and we recorded it was set up like a podcast situation. So we recorded the Free Bands Radio in the studio in New York, and then They edited it and put it out the next day, and then the album dropped that Friday. So it went viral because, Black was asking him, because, him and Black are like best friends. So Black can ask him about the Sierras and the Russell Wilsons and, like all the stuff that, nobody else would feel comfortable asking him. And it went up. So Black was like, man, maybe I need to like go ahead and buckle down and like do this shit for real. I've been talking about it. So let's put it together. So he got with Scream. Scream knows all like the technicals from him, from his background in radio. He was like, if I put it together, are you gonna show up? Like, he was like, if all I gotta do is just pull up, hell yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah.
So we did that. They got everything together. At first it was just those two, and like I was helping get artists and stuff like behind the scenes. But it got to a point where when we were in the studio recording, like the artist and stuff would be talking to me like off to the side, but on camera it looks like they're talking to a ghost or something or whatever. But it was kind of like a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
So like one day Black was like, bitch, you ain't finna keep laughing on the side of my shit, bitch. Pull up a chair and sit down and come on, let's get this money. So I pulled up a chair and sat down and started talking to the niggas on camera with them. And, I kind of went from there. And like, here we are, like 5 years later, still going strong. Like, and it's a really incredible situation because for all of us, it's like, it's therapy. And then we have, another thing that we do called Big Facts Fridays or Big Facts Extras, where it's just us talking about, topics. We might pick a word or we might talk about like worldly stuff or whatever. And then we get a chance to really just kind of give our opinions on things. Because when we have guests, it's kind of like we're focused on the guest. So we talk about like shit related to the guest. But when it's just us, we have a chance to really kind of express our own individual personalities. And that's like another thing that we really like love to do.
Yeah. So I've seen quite a few of the episodes, and you in particular are very outspoken. You don't bite your tongue worth of fuck. Nor does Bank. Right? I'm saying Bank be saying some shit slick, like, and I'm like, damn, I can't believe he really said that. You know what I'm saying?
He's a Gemini. That nigga is crazy,
the nigga
bro,
say it
like,
in front of the nigga though. Like he'll say some slick. I want to say disrespectful, but it's kind of like, damn, nigga, low key really pressed him with that question.
Yeah,
you know
like because it's just like at the end of the day, we like to give the real. And we're never going to disrespect anybody. We're never going to step on anybody's toes. It's never our objective to have a nigga come to our show and talk about some shit and leave with a beef or, anything like that. But we do like to talk it out and, let niggas see other ways of thinking or other perspectives. Shout out to Perspectives with Bank Black show. It's
crazy, I saw that too.
Crazy show. Check it out on YouTube.
I seen he just had Tracy T on there.
Yes, for sure. And he just did a 2-part thing with Charleston White that was incredible.
Okay.
But it's just like we like to be the show that like gets to ask the shit that a lot of other people are afraid to ask because that's what we're here for. We really want to know. We're journalists now. So it's like, that's our job.
I think Bank rejects that. He rejects that.
But no, let's talk about it because you kind of reject it too. Because when he call it is we talking shop. But like I told him, I said, well, we kind of got to teeter because people do take it and run with it, and it's information, and you don't know how powerful, how much it'll resonate, which he knows and understands. But
for sure.
I felt that pressure too because I said, man, no, I need to make sure I get this straight because people will also assign it to you. You're a journalist. Oh, you're what? I didn't say that. I'm just on a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you before I say what I say. Has there ever been an interview that you said that you guys had, a guest, and you say your big facts, right? So you're going to hold people accountable for what they say, or to a certain extent. Have you ever had a guest sit across from you and just say some outlandish cap shit? I asked Scream the same thing, and you had to keep a straight face. Or just out of journalistic respect, you allow them to have that moment. So you become complicit in the cap somewhat. But have you ever had an interview like
Several.
that?
Several.
What's the biggest one? The biggest cap? I know we know the same one. We have to be thinking about the same one.
She's like, why you do?
She's like, come on, for the 99 and the
So
2000.
okay, so let me just say this just to preface it.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna chop you up.
Even though I've had to be complicit in the cap, that still does not mean that I condoned the cap.
Of course.
My complacency or complicity or whatever you call that shit, like, does not in any way, shape, or form fucking mean that I agreed with that bullshit.
I'm a co-conspirator of cap on the show too. You know, I'm guilty. Yeah.
But it's like sometimes when a person just keeps going on with it for so long, you just gotta let him have it. Like, like, come on, let's just get this shit over with because you're gonna piss me off. Like, but to answer your question, so it's been a couple. Like, we had two recently, that were, you know, I don't really want to call out niggas' names, but we had two recently that we were, I don't really want to say investigating, but we were speaking on like some allegations regarding like
I know what
some
you're talking about.
Snitching stuff.
Yes, I saw it.
And it was just a lot going on with that.
I saw that, and you
that
pressed
required a large magnitude or a large amount of complacency or whatever on.
But you kind of didn't know. You
everybody's
pushed.
behalf.
You
but
pushed though.
I had to push through because at the end of the day, I felt like if I sat there and allowed that, then everything that I claimed to believe in and everything that I claimed to stand on would go out the window the same way that it did with the guest when he did what he did. So I couldn't let that happen. And then on top of that, it wasn't just like it was a guest. This is somebody that I knew personally that I looked at as a friend, and it was painful for me because I felt like I was being lied to my face. And I kind of felt the way about that because I looked at it kind of like a form of disrespect to a certain extent.
Felt like because we got personal.
My intelligence was, I felt like my intelligence was being played with, and I didn't really, take kindly to that. And that bothered me, and it really affected me. And we had another guest, this was a couple of years ago, and it involved some allegations like with a transsexual. And the allegations were denied, and I'm saying whatever. But then after the interview came out, the transsexual in question, along with other people from the hometown of the person in question, hit us up like, hey, we know for a fact that these are facts. So it was kind of like, but we get that a lot though. When we have to be complicit, that's gonna be my word for tonight, complicit. If we have to be complicit with the cap, when the interview comes out, all you have to do is like go to the YouTube comments.
That's a fact,
and you'll see like, this is where all of the people release their anger in our YouTube comments and tell us the truth about the complicity that we have.
That's it. I tell people, it's funny. I discovered that too, because I've had, different people come on and have their level of cap, and sometimes I wouldn't even know it was cap, right?
Yes.
But people would be like, oh, why you let them come on and say that?
You find out everything you need to know in the comments.
I was like, hey, listen, I didn't let them do nothing.
Yes.
They exposed themselves.
Right.
You just let them talk. Y'all people gonna tell.
And Black had to teach me that as well. He had to teach me like, stop trying to like overtalk these niggas and drag it out of them. you know, just ask your questions and let these niggas talk themselves into a hole. And then the people are going to see
That's
and
a
make a
fact.
decision for themselves.
That's a fact.
Because if you keep trying to bully a nigga, then you're going to look like the bad guy and you're going to look like the hater. And
That's right.
you know what I'm saying? All
Yeah,
this
yeah,
shit. So
yeah.
just, you know, ask your questions and, you know, let them talk and then let the people decide and go from there.
That's a fact.
So,
You've had your fair share of social media, you know, beef or
Yeah.
whatever. How do you deal with that? And how do you manage? Because sometimes the shit can go offline too. But
Right.
how do you manage to say, you know, just to keep your perspective and your temperament and the team that you could have and mobilize in check and say, y'all can have that, or do you just keep it on social media and do whatever you do there?
Yeah, because a lot of these niggas are the police. So like, I'm not trying to go to jail
Yeah.
for some words
Yeah.
because a nigga feels like he can't beat me or whatever. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not even trying to go back and forth and fight with a man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
whoever.
Yeah.
So it's just like at the end of the day, like, I look at it as flattery because you're thinking about me and you thought about me so much that you had to bring me into your world and open me up to your audience.
Yeah.
And for that, I
Yeah.
thank you,
Ain't it
Mr.
funny how
Mr. Man or Mr. Woman.
Ain't that
or
funny
whoever
how
you
that
are.
works on social media?
Yeah.
It's like when people hate on you and they think they're getting shit off on you, they're actually on the social media world.
They're actually
pushing you up.
It's
It's
their
funny
platform.
like that.
Like, yeah.
That's crazy.
So
What-
I welcome it all, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't
You
care.
have to learn not to see that bondage.
Yeah.
Stay away from that bondage. Giving a fuck. Yeah. I'm assuming that Scream and Bank, are they protective of you in that way? Do they
Very
like
much so.
you may not give a fuck, but because they're men and you cis, do they
Very
see it
much
like,
so.
hold up, bro? Like,
Very much so. And for that, I'm forever grateful because it's just like outside of like the podcast or whatever, me and Scream have been friends for a very long amount of time. But Black is like my twin. Like, you know, that's my best friend in real life. So it's like I've learned over the last 20 some years that I've known him and that we've been friends, like I've learned so much from him about how to deal with people. He was the one, how can I say, I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but he was the one that made me kind of ease up off the females because he was like, you got to understand, you got to stop being so mean because, you know what I'm saying, these girls just want to be your friend and they just want to love you and they just, you know, I know they're trying to get to you to get close to us, but you got to understand that, like, you know, they don't mean no harm. Like, you just got to stop being so damn mean and da-da-da-da. And I didn't understand that for a long time, but then I started to see, like, you get more done with honey than you do with vinegar. So now, like, I'm a girl's girl and, like, we have fun. And,
you know what? I'm not gonna lie. When I will watch you on the show, I can see his sweetness because it's that smile, right? It's that smile. But at the same time, I was like, I wonder if she mean in real life. Like,
no, and then it's like, it's crazy because I have like the resting bitch face or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's like, I look like that to people that don't know me, but I'm really not mean. I'm just protective of my people when it comes to them. And then like when I'm away from my people, I just like when I'm not doing anything, it just sits like that. Like I can't help it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so it just sits like
I'm
Yeah,
an
you know
aggressive
what I'm saying?
Care Bear.
Yeah.
That's what I
it's
call
like-
myself.
Yeah.
So it's like, but yeah, no, I've learned, like, just going back to Black or whatever, like I just always got to give him his props because he's really taught me basically how to evolve as a person. And he taught me how to monetize myself and stop doing all this shit for these niggas for free. And you know what I'm saying? Like how to make sure that the business is your business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For lack of a better way to put it. And it's like, man, I owe that nigga my life. Like for real, like real shit.
And coming off of that question, you know, because
Mhm.
that's deep. You know, sitting in front of that mic and these
Mhm.
cameras, and you said you and your brothers, y'all just chop it up. You
Mhm.
know, was there something that y'all ever talked about that you healed from and you didn't even know was broken? That you know, you didn't even know, like you discovered it right there on camera, like, damn.
Yeah, we had like a death in our family or whatever. And it was our brother Dave. Like, him and Black grew up from Sandbox. And then, like when I came into the picture like 20 some years ago or whatever, like shit, they took me in. And, like I was like I was with Dave every day. It was like a whole thing. And I was actually when he passed, I was actually the one that found him. So it was really kind of like it was kind of like, it was kind of hard. So we did we had an episode that we did that we dedicated to him or whatever. And I ain't really never like talked about it, or like never really kind of like I don't want to say like I pushed it away like to forget about it, but it was like easier for me to just kind of like not think about it or
Yeah, it's too
whatever.
painful to really confront. Like,
Yeah, so we did like the dedication thing or whatever. And we all just kind of like let it out and kind of like discussed it and kind of like discussed him as a person, and what I'm saying, like the whole situation or whatever. And that was probably one of the hardest things ever to do, but one of like the most needed, because like neither one of us, me nor Black, had really kind of like, I don't want to say like dealt with it or whatever, but it was kind of like it was too like just too much.
yeah,
And in that episode, like we cried, we laughed, we talked, and you know what I'm saying? That really for me, it really kind of like helped me open up and start kind of trying to think about it and like face it, because it was just that whole thing was just like, it was just really traumatic for like our entire family. And like still to this day it's rough like on a daily basis, but it was like that just kind of opened it up to make me like feel comfortable enough to like speak on it, and you know what I'm saying, like talk about it or whatever. I'm not gonna get all fucking
yeah.
emotional
No,
and
it's
all
all
that shit,
good. No,
but
it's all good.
it was, yeah, that was, I think that was one of the episodes that really like did
Permission
it.
to more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Have you dealt with a lot of death? Hmm. Like mainly friends, family. Mm. How do you cope? Do you do that with everything? You just don't confront it, or you kind of push it to the back, or do you like kind of just carry it?
Um, I kind of I kind of, I guess, I don't want to say I don't think about it, because I'm never gonna like forget like the people that I've lost or whatever. But in order for me to be able to like keep going, I kind of have to a certain extent like block it out, because it's like probably, I want to say probably like in the last like maybe year and a half. Thank you. Um, Probably lost probably like 10 people,
Wow. Hmm.
12 maybe. And like probably about half of those people are people that I talk to like on a daily basis, like type shit. So it's like it's easier for me to just not think about it, but sometimes like it'll hit me and I'll like have like my moments or whatever, and that shit'll like fuck me up. Like,
Yep. Yeah.
but I know like I gotta eventually, like I'm gonna have to see somebody to like talk about the shit and like let it out. But it's just kind of like for me, in order for me to be able to like push through and like do what I need to do, I kind of have to try to like not think about it. Like I do I go to the funerals and I do like all the stuff with the family or whatever, and um all of that. But I just after the funerals, it's kind of like, okay, like shut it off, like, because you can't, like, I haven't, it's a lot of shit that I haven't even been able to begin to process. And if I started doing that, I'd probably fucking like go crazy or like nut up or some shit. So
Yeah.
it's easier just to, realize that like these people are gone, but I can't really think about the shit right now because it's like I got too much other shit going on that I have to be focused on, like type shit.
Let me
So
ask you, because she's a psych major, is that healthy? How can she work through that?
Man, you were reading my mind. So you know it's wild. And at first I will say I identify with you 100%. And it's crazy that you said that because I just admitted that to my sister. Like I'm gonna say it was either like late last year or early this year because we lost my grandpa and my uncle within 6 months. My family's not big. So that was like 40% of the family gone right there. And life gets real for you. You just start processing it differently. But I remember I told my sister because my grandfather, close. I didn't cry at the funeral for real. I literally I didn't cry at the wake. It wasn't until months later, literally months. It could have even been a year later. I broke down. He's in Kansas City. He was down the street from my office. Most of my family is there. And I remember, and I told him, I said, like, I love you, but like I feel bad because, like you said, part of me has to really compartmentalize because if I let myself feel this every single day, it's just too much, So I think it is a healthy balance to say, okay, I'm mourning. It is okay to feel sad and it's okay to process and feel those emotions, but don't feel bad for also knowing that, okay, I am still here in this reality. And the people that have transitioned, they love you too. They wouldn't want you to crumble, and that's what I've had to contend with and just kind of comfort myself with like, man, I know my grandpa, I know my uncle, like they want me to still getting it, like literally I'd had it on before, but I got them on my necklace. I wear them every time I travel, every time I even get a little nervous and I let that comfort me. So I wouldn't necessarily focus on, am I healing right? Am I mourning right? Am I doing it right? Is this wrong? Because it's you, it's your own personal journey. It's you processing your own emotions. I say, do what you got to do to process your emotions. Got to scream, got to go meditate, you got to go sit in some flowers, you got to cry, you got to curse. As long as you're not hurting nobody, I say heal how you have to heal, and nobody can tell you there's a right or wrong way to do that.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is. The human condition, and I've said this a lot, I reconciling the human condition, just being here and existing and having to contend with this on a day-to-day basis, it is a lot. And I do. Even now, I feel like I'm very sane after my crazy period, but
Yeah.
I always give myself permission to slip just a little bit because that little permission to myself keeps me sane. Like, no, I'm not going to hold myself to this machine of a standard. I'm not a machine. I feel. I
Yeah.
process, and I may feel again. There's times where, I'm super happy, I'm super good, but then, yeah, there's times where my dad will see it and he knows because he'll even ask me. He'll be like, you okay? And I'll tell my sister, I'm like, damn, this nigga know me. Like, God, I'm fine, because I'm outside with my joints. And he know it. He like, hold on, there's way too many joints. You smoke, nigga. You don't smoke like that though, and I'm processing. I'm in here, but it's what I gotta do. So just
Yeah, because it's just, I don't know, man. It's just like with like a couple of those situations, it was like some shit where there was like violence and like guns involved, but I was there. So it's like, damn, like, and it was like probably like a split piece of a second. It could have been me type shit. You know what I'm saying? So in more than one occasion. So it's like, I first thank God because I know that I'm blessed and like I'm here for a reason, but it's just like that shit just be kind of like, damn, like
You ever feel guilty?
all the time. even like with Dave, even though like Dave's shit wasn't violent or nothing, he I believe it was like an aneurysm or some shit, something like related. It was health related, and like we hadn't heard from him, so I went to his condo or whatever, and I found him like he was just laying out. You know what I'm saying? Peaceful or whatever. But even with that shit, it's like almost some shit like damn, like what could I have done sooner, or like what the fuck, like because like anytime like I've ever gotten locked up or anytime anything has ever happened to me, like you know either him or like my god sister or my aunt or somebody would save me, you know what I'm saying? And he would always come to the rescue and whatever. But it's like, why the fuck I couldn't rescue him or rescue fucking Sosa or rescue Boo or like all these people like when I'm literally there, like when this shit is happening and it's like it's nothing that I like nothing that I could do. Like that shit just be like, wow.
Let me help you with that, and then we can move on. But like, I lost my mom in 2010, right? And I'm an only child, and so
I lost mine in 2015. I'm an only child too.
oh wow, man, sorry for your loss. So we
Yeah.
understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
It's okay.
sorry about that.
No, you don't have anything to apologize for at all.
Um, lost my thought. What was I saying, Rachel?
You said you lost Grandma Renee in 2010. You know what that's like. Y'all only children.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. So
You said you were dealing with it.
yeah.
It's okay. Just breathe.
All right. So what you can't do is you can't blame yourself.
It's okay. You can't. It's okay. Don't. Just don't. It's okay.
Mm.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Okay. That's why we're here.
Mm.
I don't want to touch you. I don't want to crumble you. It's okay. It's okay.
So,
Take your time.
But I want to give it to you though, right? So what you can't do is you can't blame yourself. I went through that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and so going through that in 2010, and she was there to witness the depths of that loss. And I remember her telling me one time, she was like, "Man, I think you told your mom." He was like, "I always looked at Dad as Superman, you know." And she saw me at my weakest point, you know. And for so many years, all right, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to start off.
It's okay.
I'm so
It's
sorry.
okay.
nah, it's
Oh,
cool.
God.
It's cool. It's cool. So for so many years, I went through the guilt thing. If only I could have, I should have paid more attention. But I'm saying that to say God spoke to me one day and was like, you know what? You more arrogant than I thought. You know, you really think you're special. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing you could have did different. that day was going to happen regardless. You could have did everything and then some that you thought that you could have done, and it was still going to happen. So we all have our day. So, you got to release that. That's a lie from the devil. You can't blame yourself. You can't carry that guilt. Um, and if you believe in God, then you know that, you know, um, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord.
Mhm.
So to be honest with you, shit, we left here to deal with this shit. They free. They done
Yeah.
with sorrow and all of that. So, free yourself of that. That's not real. That part's not real. And to be honest with you, they're more with us now in death than they ever could be in life. So yeah, what got me, the only child thing, that's rough. That's a fraternity that I wish I wasn't a part of.
Right.
It's something about when you're an only child and you lose your mom, especially a parent, but your mom especially. So I just encourage you, don't carry that burden. That's not your bag. That's not real. That's not the truth. You know what I mean?
We
That's-
all come
that's
here, but
not
our
on
own
you.
timelines.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Damn, where we just go with that? I would.
No, which
And what I was
I'm
going
sorry,
to.
y'all.
it's okay.
I'm
What
a
I-
cancer man, so once I start,
Uh,
like this shit just keeps coming out.
All
I
y'all
can't
watery
stop.
people.
What I was going to tell you was too, is that yeah, I forgot my thought. But listen, so I man, my heart goes out to you. You've experienced a lot of you're carrying a lot of pain, a lot of grief, as we all are in our different ways, but um how you deal with it, man, because grief creeps up on you like it just did me. Right now, I haven't cried about my mom in some years, so I don't know why on fucking
Really?
camera, yeah, on fucking camera in front of everybody would that do that, right? But grief will creep up on you, man. But this is what I say: embrace that moment. You know what I mean? Cry, have it, like my daughter said, have that moment. But it's like pulling over on a trip, right? Pull over, have your moment, but don't stay there. Have that moment,
You
get
gotta
back
keep
in the
going to your
car and
destination.
keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you stay there too long, it's going to be harder to get back in that car and move on. You'll
Right.
get stuck. And trust me, you don't want to get stuck, because I've been stuck. I remember after my mom passed, we was in the big house, right?
Mhm.
And she would go to school, my son would go to school, my wife would go to work, and I would just sit in the room, and I was just with the shades drawn, TV not on, and I would just cry on and off all day. Thought about suicide, the whole nine.
Yeah.
And then when everybody would come home, before they came home, I would get up and get dressed and act like I was doing some shit or got some shit done.
Yeah.
And I remember my wife telling me, she was like, she would just pray for me. She'd be like, I don't know how to help you. She said, I don't know what I'm going to come home to when I come home. Like, I'm scared every time I come home because I don't know if I'm going to find you, and
It's okay. It's okay.
But you still
But-
showed up and you was
Yeah,
here and you was our
yeah,
father.
yeah,
Mhm.
but
Go ahead, Boosie, please, because I can't, because I'm going to break down.
Yeah, we just pulled over right now for a minute.
Yes.
but
Let it out.
we
Let
got
it
through
out.
it.
Let it out. It gotta come out, man. Damn, like I feel like such a dweeb, like
No, right? I'm a gangster, right?
like
Gangsters need love too.
but
Need the most love.
that was what you seeing is that was just the roughest time for me ever in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was a mama's boy too. I'm a super mama's boy.
yeah.
So, but I just want to give that to you. I just want to encourage you, because you are carrying what I carried for so many years, and I'm further ahead. So hopefully, what I've said to you can
Yeah, y'all
be
really just
useful.
y'all really just just helped me like let some more shit out, and that that really went a long way because it was just a lot of shit. Like you said, I was just like holding in that I don't really ever talk about, and I needed to like I needed to let it go. So yeah, that just
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, and I say this, and I say it on camera. I mean, we're just meeting, you know what I mean? But I connect with you. And because especially with the mom part of it,
I
if
appreciate
you
it.
ever need to, because I understand that. And 2015, even though it's 10 years, that's still like yesterday. That's still like,
Man, you don't even understand. Like, I mean, well, you do understand, but it's like, bruh, like my mom, like my mom was like my mom was like the best mom ever. Like she fucking like her and my dad, like they were the best parents like I could ever ask for. When my fucking when my cousins and shit would like we would meet up, like they would tell me at like how at school, like, like for instance on Halloween, like their class had a pumpkin or whatever. Like my mom made sure that like my class had each kid had their own pumpkin and their own little pumpkin family. Like we had the little squash and you know what I'm saying, all the shit, whatever, whatever. She made sure that like when I was in the 6th grade, I went on a school trip to France and you know what I'm saying? She made sure that like fucking I had a car when I was 16 and I had all the Jordans and
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to play the fucking trumpet and fucking her and my dad, they came to all my fucking band recitals and I took dance at Spelman for 12 years. And you know what I'm saying? She was with whatever I wanted to do. Like no matter what it was, like even if my daddy didn't agree with it, like she'd be like, shut up. Like just like, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like a lot of even like when it came down to like, and I always tell people this is why I am the way that I am. Like when it came down to like me being disciplined, like she was never one of those parents, her or my dad, that like yelled at me and told me to shut up and go to my room or like beat me or anything like that. Like anytime anything was going on with me, they would sit me down and talk to me and get to the bottom of what was going on and figuring it out, not getting upset with me because I got in trouble or, something like that. And that really made the difference with me as a person and as a human, understanding life and understanding other people's perspectives, because it's like a lot of times when people are going through shit, it causes them to act out, and they're not acting out because they're trying to be rude or trying to be disrespectful or trying to be whatever. It's like it's something like lying under
They're
that.
hurting.
They're hurting for something, or something is going on, and it's like they might just need somebody to talk to, or an ear to listen. And if you can do that and it doesn't take away from anything that you have going on, like why not be that person? And you can help change the world one person at a time like that. Like,
Oh, that's a real.
and that's what my parents like always taught me. And like, man, that shit right there just
One
whew.
conversation can save a life.
No,
It
that's a
really can.
fact.
Yeah,
That's a fact. I mean,
yeah,
it's by God's grace that I'm still here. Because I mean, I'm telling you, I went through it, and as an only child,
yeah.
you feel abandoned. You feel alone. You
Alone,
feel
like
alone. Yeah, and of course, thank God I have the support and love of my wife and my
right.
kids. But this is why I say, man, no matter how tough we think we are, no matter how much money we get, how grown we get, everybody want to feel like they somebody's baby.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And so when that's removed and you like, damn, like I'm really out here. Like I remember I
By
told
myself.
by myself. I told my wife this one time and she started crying because I said, do you understand that if I didn't create my immediate family with her and my kids, um, I'm in Los Angeles. I'm from Kansas City. There's no family that I have in Los Angeles. If I died and didn't have ID on me, I would be a John Doe because there would be no one coming to look for me. There would be nobody coming to look for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? just out here, and that was a reality.
Yeah.
So I think when you experience that, it does give you a certain strength, and mental fortitude, but that's a painful reality. So
And I want to ask you a question. Being that like you're a psychology major and stuff. Um, because I feel like because I've experienced like a lot of death, like the 10 or 12 people that I was talking about in the last like year or two or whatever. That's just like speaking on the people that I was super close to. But I've experienced like tons of death, like tons, tons. But I feel like I don't want to say like I'm numb to death, but it's kind of like since it's such a regular occurrence, it's kind of like I don't really feel it.
yeah, yeah,
Like I don't really, it's like it's like okay, this is like another one like type shit. Like I don't know, is that weird? Like
Well, I'll give you my answer, and it'll be half psych, half my personal beliefs, and I would say I'll sprinkle it with my own just observation and just me observing myself. And I always keep it real with myself. That's why it's easy for me to identify with others and to answer your question in multiple parts.
yeah.
So, number one, as far as the body, and this is everybody, your body will always seek to protect itself. It will, physically, psychologically. If you're going through a traumatizing experience, it's always going to seek defenses because and I believe this, I believe that the human psyche, and I'm gonna prove a point. There's multiple shows, but there's a show called Westworld, and I always give this example. They have these robots that are literally used for sex toys, torture, whatever in this wild, wild west. But the dude says something, the creator, and it always stuck with me in the show. He said, we have to reset their memory every single time because if they remember every person that books them, they're gonna malfunction. Now, these are robots. This is a concept that people have put on robots. Now, how much more of a human that is feeling, that is creating bonds? And when you think about even on a biological level, like you're bonding with people, you know what I mean? You're sharing space, you're sharing energy, your family, this is DNA there inside of you. So even, and I will say, and I'll challenge both of you a little bit because I even had to deal with this myself because listen, you a Cancer, I'm a Capricorn. I'm your composed compadre,
Yes,
but I feel
yes.
it with my 170 plus moons. I'm very
Yes.
emotional, but I got my Gemini moon, so I process and I
Yes.
observe and I have to understand my emotions and where they
Right.
originate. You know what I mean? So in digging through my own self, I peel back, like I told you earlier. Yes, you're gonna protect yourself. It is normal to numb out. That is the defense mechanism, but your body is going to feel it because you love this person. You know what I mean? And it's okay. And I think, and this is exactly why. And I said this, and this is why I've been telling this the past couple months. This is why at some point I want to be a death doula, because I think the education around death and even us having conversations around death, if we would shift that early on and we don't have these kind of taboo feelings around it, it would be easier for us to process because it is a natural part of life. And we see it in, I love movies. Cinema is also how I process my emotions. Think of the concept of a vampire. It's even hard for them
you
to
seen
cherish
Sinners?
it.
yes.
Sinners, Interview with a Vampire, all of that.
Yeah.
How can they cherish that when it's forever? You cherish it when you know you can lose it. You cherish it when you know it's an end date. So I shifted my perspective after my grandpa passed, after my uncle passed, because it did. It really rocked me, and it was in the midst of COVID. My immediate family was in LA. I was in Kansas City. I got to pass by my grandpa's house. He not there no more. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
my uncle, the conversations you start feeling these empty spaces. And naturally, as a human, you want to feel them because it's the love. You're missing the love. And not only the love from them, but you want to give it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
what I do is I still pour that love. I still pour that love into my grandpa. I still pour that love into my uncle. When I go outside and I smoke my joint, I'm talking to them. Man, y'all would be so proud. Uncle, look at what I'm doing. Grandpa, you told me, get my education, do this. So I'm trying to answer all of the parts while also giving you my solutions
Yeah.
because the human experience, and I hate when I want to emphasize this so much because it's always this, oh, there's a right way to do this. 5 signs are this, 10 ways to heal. Listen, it's not linear. We're cyclical people. You know what I mean? You can feel great for several months, and then because your body remembers, it could be a scent, it could be a song, it could be food, it could be, like you said, you drive it and then you just get this lemon and you like, damn, and it's okay, and it's normal. I think that everything that comes with the suicidal thoughts, and that's another thing. We need to stop tabooing suicidal thoughts. I don't know a person walking that have been through shit that ain't had suicidal thoughts. You know what I mean? Like, so that's okay. It's normal. And I think we need to start normalizing the human condition and having these conversations saying, listen, it's okay, but talk to me about it. Let's share space about it. Let's cry about it so you don't have to feel alone and isolated in it, because then that's when all these other voices that ain't even you, that may not even be human, they start creeping in and they start feeding off of it. So sometimes what you feeling, it's like, man, I'm feeling it, but this is something else. Don't, like my father said, it's not, yes, your pain is real, your love is also real, but that extra stuff, it's not real. That's something else. You know what I mean? And don't feel bad for protecting yourself for that, because you know how you feel about your loved ones, and you know how you love these people, and you know how you still love them and how you still honor them.
Yeah.
That's a fact right there. That's big facts. Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah. So,
That's
deep. Allow yourself to feel, man.
It's coming from a Capricorn.
Yeah.
Took a lot.
And what I was going to say before I broke down in here, like a little hoe.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
I was going to say, every now and again, you may have, you know what I'm saying? You might have to get
I guess I'm a hoe too.
Hey,
you got
we're not going to do that.
You got that
crying
fast.
too.
You know what I mean?
That's why we need Tyrese. Exactly. You better cry these tears, probably. It's okay.
I feel like I need to knock somebody on camera now. You know what I mean? Like I need to crash out or something, balance my whole ass shit that you did. But no, I think sometimes you have to, sometimes you have to have a good cry.
Yeah,
I believe that. It's like,
I really actually, I feel like, I feel like a lot better right now. Like
good.
Like, after talking to y'all and, after realizing that, like, I'm not weird because I sometimes don't feel or, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Like,
you're not alone.
It's just, I just, I feel light.
Yeah.
Like, man.
No, that's good. All right, man. That's
like,
a blessing. That's a blessing.
This was needed. Like,
that's a blessing.
This was needed. I'm glad I don't know how we got on this topic or shit or whatever,
how
but
the hell we got there.
I'm glad that we did, man, because y'all really just, I don't even think y'all understand. Y'all really just like it helped me for real. So, yeah.
Yeah, I always say a good cry is like taking your laundromat, taking your soul to the laundromat. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I'm saying? You cleansing yourself, you getting it all out, especially men,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm one of them men, that feels like, a man shouldn't cry necessarily,
Right.
But I think there's time, I think grief and different things like that. But even so, mixed in that grief, you're going to have frustration, life frustration, disappointment, hurts,
And then that's another thing too, like with me, with my relationship, like with my guy friends, like I try to create that safe space for them to be able to do that or whatever they need to do for that release, because I understand how keeping all of that shit bottled up makes you eventually explode.
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, I need to do to make them feel comfortable enough to be able to let it out. I try to like be adamant about that, to let them know like, hey, you can do that here and you don't have to worry about judgment or, you know what I'm saying, no kind of shit like that, because I know, man, that shit gets rough. And it's like when you feel like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders as a man and then you have nowhere to go to drop some of that shit off, like that shit'll drive you crazy for real. Like, and I've seen it happen and it's hard to watch. And it's just, I don't know.
I mean, I think it's some of it, unfortunately, I think it's just the role of being a man, because, and I'm sure the guys in here can attest to this, maybe not, but it's like, we can have our wives, our significant others, but see, we can't always let them know when we ain't got it together, when we're
Right.
scared, when we don't have the answer, we don't know what's gonna happen, because if I'm panicking, you gonna panic,
Do you
but
feel like that because you feel like as a man you're supposed to be the leader?
of course, and the
Yeah.
protector all around. I want to protect you emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I want to
Right.
protect your peace. So let me bear this. I
Right.
don't know how we gonna do it. I don't know how it's gonna happen. I'm scared, but I gotta tell you, nah, we good. I got it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that can be hard. That's hard as hell. You know what I mean? And then when you have a family too, because you gotta be. I think that just comes with being the man.
Yeah.
I think we just built for it. So would y'all agree, fellas? Yeah.
But you still need support.
You can have support. The support is there, but you just can't. You just can't, you know what I mean? Lay it on the line. Like,
Yeah.
you can say, hey, babe, I got it. Yeah, I'm a little stressed. But you can't say, babe, I'm lost. I don't know. I'm scared. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know who I am. I don't have a direction right now.
So can I
I
ask
don't
you,
believe in me.
can I ask you one more question?
Yeah.
So do you feel like your inability to be able to feel comfortable enough to lay it on the line with your wife comes from a previous relationship or a previous situation to where you might have felt comfortable enough to lay it on the line and it was either unheard or used against you later?
Nope. I don't have a previous relationship. I've been with my wife since I was 15.
Oh
So,
shit.
yeah. So
Well,
thank you. I
hey
appreciate
man, y'all
that.
clap. Y'all clap this nigga
I
up, man. This is
appreciate that.
important.
I
This is
appreciate
big.
that.
Like that. Yeah, like my
Yeah.
mom and my dad are like that too.
Yeah.
Like, and they were together until she passed. So it was like you had the
So
same type of thing.
I don't know, not at all. It's innate. It's intrinsic. It's just
Yeah.
it's a protector. You know what I mean? Like I said, I can protect you physically, but
Right.
I want to protect your peace. Like
Right.
I want you to be okay, even
Yeah.
if it's not okay. You know what I mean? And I think like I said, I think that just comes with being the man. That's
Being the
our
man,
role.
yeah.
Like I think it's certain uncomfortable spaces that women probably have to carry.
Mhm.
That it's like, well, damn, it's just, I already know how it's, yeah, she's like, yeah, but we shouldn't. It shouldn't be like that.
No, we all gotta bear our burdens.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
afraid to do that.
Everybody's got their
We do.
role to play. But
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know how we got on all that. But listen, ultimately I'm very glad and God doesn't make any mistakes. So
Right.
this time
Yes.
on this day in this space,
grateful
we
for
were
it.
supposed to have this,
I'm grateful for
and
it.
I feel like it was
Very.
therapeutic for everyone,
Yes, man. Yes.
So
yes.
and I commend you on being so transparent and so brave enough to share with
I'm
strangers.
sitting up here like
yeah,
a little
vulnerable.
bitch. Like,
Nah,
oh
Nah,
my god.
I'm a hoe
No.
though. I'm over here on like a little hoe
They
crying.
gonna
and
revoke my
shit.
Capricorn card. Man, come on now.
You know what I mean?
No.
So,
Gotta go for it.
but
Oh my god.
but
Yes.
on that note, I didn't forget all the other stuff. But I just really want to say, man, listen, me and my family will be praying for your healed heart and your peace.
I appreciate it. I really do.
And consider us adopted family. And that ain't no fake shit. We real niggas, you know what I mean? So I'm saying, we done bonded on some shit, but
Yes.
you keep continuing being great. I do want to ask you one last question.
Yes.
Circling back to the podcast.
Mhm.
And it just came in my head. When did you realize that your voice, you, baby Jade, that your voice had power in this culture?
So I think one of the times where I realized that my voice had power, a few years ago we did an interview with Birdman, and like Birdman and Juice had a relationship, where I got my start from or whatever. So like I had been like going to New Orleans, like when we used to go to New Orleans, I used to stay at his house, and it was like we've already had like a relationship and a rapport and like a friendship or whatever. So when it came time for him to do Big Facts, um the number one thing that people wanted me to ask him was about the quote unquote Lil Wayne kissed or whatever. Like what was going on with that. But I was kind of struggling with that because I didn't want to offend him because we had such a close relationship and he was like my family and he had always taken care of me or whatever. But as a journalist, I knew what I had to do. And I really have so much respect for him because not only did he not take offense to my question, because it was like one of those things that like Black and Scream couldn't ask him. Like it had to be me. And you know what I'm saying? I really have so much more respect for him because not only did he answer my question, but he went in depth with the answer. And I've seen him in other interviews shut shit down like immediately, like
Yeah. Yeah.
all three of y'all.
All
You know what I'm
three
saying?
of y'all.
Like,
Stop
you know what I'm
playing
saying?
with me.
Like, stop
Yeah.
playing with me.
Yeah.
But it was like, he really like helped me get done what needed to be done. And that kind of like showed me like I'm really kind of like here for a reason. And I have a place that I need to make sure that I take care of in this industry of podcasting.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what do we have? What can we expect coming from Baby Jade? What do you have?
So I have a lot of things in the works coming up. I don't want to speak too much on them because they're still like in the primary stages or whatever, but I have another company that I started called I'd Rather Hang with Jade because I go out a lot, I do a lot of things, and people always tell me like, like I love your life. I wish I could hang with you, and like you got to take me with you sometimes, and I need to go with you so I can find me a husband, and what I'm saying, all this kind of shit, whatever, whatever. So I kind of turned that into like a community, and I have a lot of things coming like going on with that. The Instagram page is I'd Rather Hang with Jade and my personal Instagram is Baby Jade. But I got a lot of stuff that I'm about to start doing with that, like events, meet and greets, different things that are coming up. And that's like kind of like how Black branched off and did perspectives is gonna be that same type of situation, but I'm gonna be like moving around and mobile and doing different things with different people in different places or whatever. So like, yeah, that's what I have coming up. That's what I have going on, and just life in general. I'm just really glad to be here, and I appreciate every second and every moment for real.
For
Like,
sure, for sure. Well, I'm looking
yes.
forward to everything that you got going on.
I appreciate it.
You're a beautiful spirit, beautiful soul,
Thank
man,
you.
with a beautiful smile.
It was such a
Yes.
pleasure, like
Yeah.
meeting you guys
Yeah,
and
likewise.
lemon squeezing and doing all that kind of stuff. Like,
Right,
I'm gonna
right.
hold on to this snot
Right.
paper forever. I'm not gonna forget it.
I got
and
mine
So
right here.
I'm gonna put this shit in a box and I'm gonna frame it
Right.
and put it on my fireplace.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, yeah,
Sacred
but,
tears.
Tonight was amazing, and like I said again, I really appreciate you guys considering me and thinking about me and
Oh yeah.
affording me the opportunity to come on TV and be
Man,
a little
we
bitch.
appreciate you showing up. You know what I mean? So listen, this is home. Anytime
Yes.
you on the West Coast, you in LA, you're always welcome to the show. Of
For
course,
sure.
I hope we can build from here.
For
I want
sure.
to be of support and service to you as
Yes.
my daughter as well.
Yes.
So listen,
Yes.
you family. We family now. We done cried together. We done cried together, so we stuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So yeah, I appreciate you. So on that note,
Yeah.
man, listen. Baby Rachel, you baby Rachel. Fuck that. Baby Rachel, my co-host, my oldest daughter,
Yes.
and man, the wonderful and talented Baby Jade. Appreciate you. That's another one for Holdin Court Podcast, and we out of here. Salute.